Well, I wasn't planning to have Ben Gessling on Daily Delivery, but there's always a good reason to have him join. In this case, Ben, it is rumor and innuendo season. You shot down the popular notion that the Vikings could be in pursuit of Matthew Stafford. Talk me through the process here. What happened and where are we at?
Yeah, I mean, this has been circulating the last couple days. I mean, and it's kind of one of those internet rumors that somebody's throwing out there. I think it's like a fantasy sports account that
Okay.
people do this, and I get asked about it enough, and it's like, well, the money isn't impossible. I mean, after looking at it a little bit, it's like the money's not impossible. So let's just send out a couple texts to people and say, hey, is there any chance of this happening? Is this crazy or not? And the response
Is
I
it
got
crazy
back,
or is it quasi?
well, yeah. I mean, it's like, are you going to go full Rams with the
Right.
Rams? So you check on that stuff, and the response I got back was pretty forceful. It said zero truth to that rumor. So
Okay.
put that out there today, and a lot of people are like, well, yeah, and there's no chance, obviously, that would
Yeah.
happen. And I don't think there is much chance. I mean, if we did the money thing, they could afford it. It's a half season rental. There's not really a huge cost to keep him or to cut him after this year. But, you're talking, what are they trading to get him? Probably that first round pick, which is the last kind of real asset they have to trade right now. I don't think they're doing that, especially when you just, let's play this out. I mean, Sam Darnold is still their starting quarterback. Sam Darnold is playing, I think, fairly well. Can you win a championship with Sam Darnold? I think that's another question, but are they going to move off of Sam Darnold, trade the first round pick for probably a rental with Matt Stafford when you have JJ McCarthy waiting in the wings and probably ready to go, possibly as a starting quarterback next year? That seems like a too cute by half maneuver for them. I mean, if you felt good enough about, hey, let's push all the chips in, then I think making a bold move at the deadline is one thing. Doing it at that position for a quarterback that's 36 years old, that's, making quite a bit of money, I think, is a more complicating factor. So, you put pieces together. Kevin O'Connell obviously was the OC in LA when he won a Super Bowl, when Matt Stafford won the Super Bowl there. Kevin O'Connell was the OC when they make the trade to get Matt Stafford from Detroit. There's all that history, yes, but the forcefulness with which I heard it today, I'm fairly inclined to believe that. This is not somebody that would be that forceful for no reason. I'm getting it from a place I trust. So that level of vehemence in the denial, I think, it's convincing to me, at least at this point.
Doesn't seem to me like their roster is good enough, even if you upgraded a quarterback. I don't feel like this is a Super Bowl team, and maybe I'm wrong. Like they've certainly looked good the part for a while, but like let's go back to the beginning of the season. Like projections said this is like a 7 or an 8 win team. Like this is obviously the narrative has changed, and some of the pieces they brought in have been like the sum of the parts. The whole is greater than some of the parts in some of these cases, especially where the defense fits together. But I'm not looking at this roster and saying they're a step up at quarterback away from making a Super Bowl run. It just feels like it would be a lot to ask of the assets you would have to give up.
Well, yeah, and it's the question of, I mean, you could look at this and say the NFC is wide open. The 49ers are not playing like they have. Who else do you really trust in the NFC, probably other than the Lions? I think you could make that argument. Sure. But you also need a lot of people to stay healthy that are not 23 years old. I mean, you need Stephon Gilmore, you need Harrison Smith, you need Aaron Jones to stay healthy. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that has to go their way for a long time yet. So is it possible they make a run? I don't think they have done enough to surprise me and impress me through 6 games that I think they could make some noise in the NFC. I think that's different than saying we are all in. This is the team. There is no reason to hold back, burn the boats. We're going all in, whatever cliche you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you look at it that way with this group, especially when you could, I think, project 3 years out, 2 years out, whatever, and say there's a chance that we're in that boat if JJ McCarthy pans out, if some of your young players, Dallas Turner continues to get better, if they are able to add corners, young corners through the draft or through free agency, they're going to have a lot of money to spend as well. So I would think that if you're talking, time horizons, Kwesi talks about this quite a bit. What's the window to win? I think the window is coming open, but I don't know that you would look at it and say, let's sacrifice anything and everything for this particular team and this particular run. They did not do that, at least to the fullest possible degree 2 years ago. Yes, they make the trade for Hockenson, but it wasn't, let's trade everything.
Yeah.
Let's trade the first round pick and let's just push all the chips in for, probably a similar team. This is a better defense. I think that was maybe a little bit better offense at that time, especially after they added Hockenson, and you're not seeing a team say, hey, we have to just cash all the chips in for right now either. So I could see them getting aggressive. I wouldn't rule that out. I wouldn't rule out trading the first round pick. But like I say, I don't know that a quarterback at this point, put it this way. If you traded the first round pick for Matt Stafford, you have basically taken 2 first round picks on quarterbacks in the same year. You have spent your 2024 first round pick on a quarterback and your 2025 first round pick on a quarterback. So that seems a little rash to me for how they would operate. I don't think that this particular set of circumstances makes a ton of sense for that to happen. And, again, whatever I think or whatever, calculus we can do here is one thing, but when you have people saying there's zero truth to this, I do think that carries a lot of weight here.
Now, the NFL trade deadline has become more interesting. It used to be there were like 4 trades, nothing much happening. It's become a lot more active. You've seen a bunch of wide receivers changing teams. I think you just saw DeAndre Hopkins just got traded. A bunch of other guys. Cooper got traded.
Getting the band back together.
Adams getting the band back together. I don't know how that's going to work out for.
That's the next guy coming in there probably.
That's the argument. The Jets are the argument for not pushing all the chips in. The Jets are the argument for not putting all the chips in.
But, you treat it like The Last Dance. I don't know if this is what dance number this is at this point.
I don't know. Not good. Not good dance.
It's not the first dance. We know that. There've been a few dances by this point. It's not going great.
You're not immune to dances. If they're not going after Stafford, what makes sense with the resources they have? Like if you think, hey, maybe a move, like what position would you look at outside of quarterback, which, however we think that, there's something maybe to how well this game goes Thursday, which makes it a whole nother subplot, right? Like, hey, by the way, you're in LA, you are chasing this rumor to its core because you are going to be at SoFi on Thursday night watching presumably Matt Stafford play against these Vikings. But how this game goes for Sam Darnold could have some bearing in how we think about all this. But pushing that aside, what area says to you, hey, they could make a meaningful upgrade here and it could push them, closer to where they want to go?
Yeah, I would look at 2 spots on defense. First of all, I would say defensive tackle. If you can find somebody there that can help kind of plug up the middle. I think Harrison Phillips has played really well. I think Harrison Phillips had some moments on Sunday where he was awfully disruptive. And I think he's done a lot of things that they've liked, and they obviously rewarded him with a contract as part of that. But having another big guy in the middle, I think would help a lot. I would look there. And I think corner. The cornerback position is a major concern beyond this year. They have been able to do it this year, but Stephon Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, and Byron Murphy Jr. are all free agents after this year. They could re-sign Byron Murphy. They could really re-sign any of those guys, I suppose. but you're not guaranteed to do that. And none of those guys are, 22, 23 years old. And not that you're necessarily going to make a trade for one either, but if you could get a 25-year-old corner in a trade, I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, a lot of teams aren't trying to give those types of players away, so that may be a big investment there. But if you spent pick number, let's call it pick number 29 or 30, and yes, I realize that means they lose another NFC Championship game. We don't need
Come
to
on. Yes.
Whatever. I think we did this on Access last week. Let's call it. Let's have fun. Let's call it pick 32. Whatever.
There you go. Pick 32.
If you got a corner that helped you this year and was somebody you could plug in for future years at pick 32, I think you take that. I mean, that's a pretty good return on investment for pick 32. It would be a better return on investment than the last time they spent pick 32 in the defensive backfield. I beat you to the joke.
Oh, Lewis Cine. That's right. Yeah.
It's the Lewis Cine joke. But I would look at those two. And then I also think running back, that's probably not as expensive. But if
you already added one, though. They already added Akers.
They added Akers, yes. But if they could find – if there's another piece there, and maybe Akers is enough. But if just adding another guy there in case Aaron Jones would go down, I don't think that's not a super expensive thing to do. But if there's something there that they could continue to add depth there, I don't think that's a bad idea. A fourth wide receiver, I suppose you could.
I was thinking wide receiver. I was definitely thinking wide receiver, but yeah.
You could think about that. But I would say defensive tackle and corner would be the places I would start.
Okay. Not quarterback, though.
Not quarterback. I said cornerback.
I know. You said cornerback, not quarterback.
Correct.
You would be like, this is basically you have enough faith in your sourcing that you're basically like, this ends here. This rumor ends here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think there's much reason to spend a ton of time on it. I mean, and maybe I'll be wrong on that. And if I am, I think somebody already tagged Old Tags Exposed.
There you go.
The receipts are there, and I'll eat it if I'm wrong. But no, I don't think there's much reason to spend a ton of time on this one. I think they are still very excited about J.J. McCarthy for the future, and that changes a lot of these calculations.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it could be a fun election day. That's the trade deadline also. I don't know why'd the NFL do that. Why'd they do that? Did they not realize that other things are happening in the world? Or they just operate in their little cocoon so much that...
Well, I mean, I suppose they figure, I don't know if they operate in their cocoon or if it's like just a total hubris thing of like, we've taken over Christmas, we've taken over Thanksgiving, we kicked the NBA out of Christmas, we took over Black Friday. We are moving the Super Bowl.
We're coming for President's Day.
The President's Day weekend. We've taken over New Year's a lot of times with football. What's left to take over? You know what? Let's take down election. So, I mean, if you want to command the news cycle, Roger Goodell is not on the ballot officially, but maybe this is his way of saying, if I wanted to run, I can get enough attention that maybe I would someday. I don't know, but it is a bit silly. And for those of us in a newspaper, the good thing is that the deadline is 3:00 so that we can get all the stories filed before all of the election coverage comes in and all of the pizza is ordered for the people in the newsroom that work on deadline.
A lot of pizza. A lot of pizza consumed that night. That is the one thing we know will happen on November 5th.
A lot of congratulatory emails, a lot of pizza. I don't think I'm getting one tomorrow night. I'm on a red eye back, but
oh man, are you really?
I don't know if I get a congratulatory.
You're doing a red eye? Oh man,
I'm doing a red eye home. Yes, it's. I mean, this West Coast games, it's always like you do that or you do the 6 a.m. and you're back at noon. You've wasted half the day. It's like you're not going to sleep before a 6 a.m. flight either. So I figured, let's just. That's
true. Took a very bleary-eyed ride to LAX and about 2 hours of sleep one time. So I feel that. I
was not up for that. I mean, and I think I'm doing the early morning SeaTac flight in December.
Okay.
I don't think I'm doing a red eye on that one, and that'll be like December 23rd or 20th. I think it's December 23rd. So maybe I'll look at that one. Maybe I'll go back to a red eye on that one too, just to get out of the airport before one of the busy travel days of the year. So I figured, last road trip I tried to sleep on a plane. So
not great.
I do that in London.
All right, Ben. Well, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Thanks, Mike.